Welcome everybody to our webinar on public links. This is a new feature that the team has been hard at work at during the beginning of 2021. My name is Jonathan Su. I am part of the customer success team and I will be your host for today's webinar. And joining me is another member of our team, Barrett Wiemers, and she will be presenting. With all of that being said, I don't want to delay any longer. Barrett, why don't you go ahead and take us away?
Hi, John, and hi, everyone. As John said, there are a lot of familiar names there, so it's nice to see you all. And for those of you who are new, thank you for joining us, and I'm glad that I'm able to come and be a part of today's webinar. As John said, my name is Barrett, and I've been a part of the Xerion team since 2013. Today, I'm really excited to talk through the new feature, public links. And to kick it off, we'll go through our agenda. So we're going to go through why public links. We'll talk through what are public links, some real life scenarios, and I'll give a demo for you. And then I'll talk through how to get started. So a few years ago, we actually rolled out our web forms. Since then, and before actually, our customers kept going into our community center on our customer success center and sharing that they really want to be able to collect iFormBuilder data without requiring users to log in. This could have been because of too fast of a turnover with users. It was also, there were times that it was too hard for companies to actually manage the users because of that fast turnover. And there were also times where people just didn't have enough devices for the amount of data that they needed to collect. And so because of that, we found that there really was this big need for public links. And so then our team started to get working and really started building out public links. And just one other note, another thing that people did request is that they wanted to have some of their projects where there were public links, and sometimes they had that same project where they wanted the iFormBuilder app to be used with login credentials. So another reason that we wanted to go ahead and make our customers as successful as possible and put in time and effort into building out the public links. So what are public links? Currently, they are designed to be used on laptops and computers, but they can be used on phones. You can use Safari or Chrome, whatever web browser that you have on your phone or your tablet. But because public links were first designed for laptops and computers, it's not as fluid as an experience on those devices. It does use our web form interface, so if you are familiar with using web forms, this should be no surprise to how this looks and feels. And if you have a larger form, just like in web form, if it's a really, really big form, it does take a little bit longer to download initially, but then after you use that form once, then it'll be a much faster and fluid experience for the user. Public links right now, they do require internet connection, so keep that in mind as well. With public links, you're able to create unique links for each of your forms. So this way, you're able to just take that link and send it out to anyone who needs to fill out that form, whether they're on, again, on their computer or on their laptop or even on their devices. And you can share this link with anyone with no login required. But what we've also added is we know that security is really important to some groups. So what we've done is we've made it so that there is the option to have a password in place. This way, if you do want to make sure the right people are completing those forms and it's not just anyone on the web, you can put that password in place. What's also really nice with public links is we give you the ability to disable links. So let's say that you have a project that is only supposed to be done in January, but it's done in every year in January. Instead of having to recreate that public link next January, instead you can just disable that link February 1st so no one can collect data. And then when next January comes about, people can fill in that form without having to have a brand new link available or created. You can use the one that was previously done. What is also nice with public links is you're able to define how many submissions are available for each profile that you have. So if you have a dedicated database, which most of you or all of you do, you may have it where you want one profile to use 200 or 300 public link submissions per month, and another one you maybe only want to allow 100 to. If you have 1,000 public link submissions, you can break up that amount into each profile as needed. So that's another thing that we wanted to make sure that we put into the public links. What also came about is with public links, we saw that there was a real use case with these different examples here. Now, as I go through each scenario, keep in mind these are just a few examples. There's probably thousands out there, but this is what we saw with our customers. The first one with the home policy holder inspections, we allow homeowners to do their own inspections so that you as a company can save time and resources instead of you having to go into those houses to do those inspections. This is a huge time saver, and you're probably going to get more data from that homeowner than someone who's just going in to fill in that information. So that's a great perk with the public links. We also saw a need for public links because of training completion documentation. So a lot of our customers actually go and deliver training on whether it's their product or a solution that they've built, and they have to actually keep track of everyone who attended those trainings. So before we had public links, what they had to do is they actually had a tablet that they passed around the audience for all of the individuals who were attending that training. Now, there's a couple issues with this. One, it took a really long time to have everyone fill in their information. And two, if someone pressed the wrong button and was out of the iForm app, could cause other issues, and then it would take even longer. So we see that there's this need for everyone who's attending a training. You can send out an email or send out even a text message with the public link attached to it, and you can get all the information from your attendees much faster and probably a little bit easier and better for everyone as a whole. Another scenario that we saw is for questionnaires. Whether you're getting customer feedback, or you're doing satisfaction surveys, or maybe even classroom projects or lead captures, using the public link, you're able to send this out a lot faster and get that information so that you can start moving faster with the information you've gathered through the questionnaires. Evaluations, we've seen people have the need to do internal employee evaluations or even customer evaluations. And instead of giving somebody a one-time username and password, you just use your public link and send it off, and then you're able to capture that data. You may want to use public links for applications. So maybe you have a class that you're starting and you want people to fill in an application for that class. Or maybe you are doing, you're renting out some equipment, and they have to fill in all their information and even their license and fill out that application before they can make use of your, or before you can actually approve of them to use your equipment. And so that's another example. And lastly, we have safety inspections. So we've had a lot of customers who actually do lab inspections, and they've had to set it up where each user has to do their own lab inspections, and they've had to buy all of these new licenses because they need to make sure they have that accountability for those individuals. They've also seen that there's such a fast turnaround with these lab inspections that they've had a lot of issues with trying to manage those users for these lab inspections. So because of that, they can now use public links and just send out that link and even include that password for that accountability to anyone who has to do those lab inspections. And they can fill that out whenever they need to. Maybe it's only once or twice, and then they no longer need to worry about that link anymore. So we see it with safety lab inspections and site lab inspections, or even equipment as well. All right, so here's the fun part. We're going to go into the demo. So to start, we're going to go into the Form Builder, the Form Builder homepage. Keep in mind that this profile already has assigned a certain amount of public link submissions. So one step has already been completed. Also keep in mind that the user I'm using right now is a server admin. To be able to create public links, you need to be either a server admin or a company admin with Form Builder rights. So keep that in mind as well. Public links can be created from the FormBuilder home screen, this screen right here, or you can actually go into the form itself and create that link. Our public link icon is right here in our right-hand corner. And once I click the public link, I have two options. I can use this link to look at a link with access with login. This actually links to our web form and would require that a user put in an iFormBuilder username and password. Today, we're going to go in the public links, and this is what most of you are probably here and interested in using. In this, we immediately see that we have the option to set a password. So for this first example, let's set a password. And this password is webinar123 exclamation point. So I'm going to show you that because I'm going to generate this link and send this into the GoToWebinar control panel so you can actually play around with it as well. So I'm going to generate the link. And what's really nice is once the link's generated, I don't have to come in here and try to capture all the text. I can just click the copy button and then it's copied for me. So now I'm going to go into our chat and I'll put this in here so you can play around with it. And I'm also going to show you what it looks like on my screen. So I'm going to open a new tab here, paste that link, and immediately it launches and tells me that I have to put in my password. So this is the webinar123 exclamation point. I can click submit. Maybe it helps if I spell it right. And now I'll give it a second to load. And now that it's in here, I can start filling out the record. So I'll do my inspection date. I'll confirm my current location. And then I'm going to go into my room inspection. You'll notice we have our list here. I have to go in and check off any information. And then if I have any images, I can actually come in here and upload images as well. So that's a really nice feature that you have, that a lot of other public link softwares don't allow you to include images. When I'm done, if I'm going to do another subform record, I can do new, but for today, I'll just hit done. I can do a roof inspection. This roof was in bad shape. I can again add images and then hit done. Now you'll notice at the bottom, I'm unable to submit right now because I haven't completed a required field. In this case, the required field is the signature. All right, now I can submit and I'm all set. Now, if we go back to our form builder, you'll notice that I still have this window open. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to remove this password. So now anyone with this link could then collect data. So I'll copy this link again. Well, first I'll hit save. And I actually don't need to copy it again because I still have it copied, and I'll do a new window. I can go into it and I don't have to put in a password. So depending on your use case, you may want to have that password protection, or if you're not so worried about it, then removing that and just sending out the link works wonderfully as well. So let's go back here. Let's say that I am editing a form and I do not want anyone collecting data while I'm making changes to that form. So what I can do is I can disable the link and hit save. And if I refresh this form window again, it gives me this error message saying that nothing can be collected because it has been disabled. I'm going to turn that off just in case some of you are still playing around and completing records. If you do want to have it where you do create a new link because of security reasons, you want to do it every other week or every month, all you have to do is click the delete link and then create a new one, and it'll generate a new URL for you to be using for your projects. So each account has 100 free monthly submissions. You can also purchase more, and I'll talk through the pricing in just a little bit. But if you're ever curious at how many submissions you've used in that month, you can see that through the form builder or through your account. So you go into the menu, go under company, and go into analytics. I'll give it wait a second here, and it'll populate this table with the amount of submissions that I've had for this time frame that I've set. If I just want to see the last month, I can edit this to be start month April and then end month April, and then it'll update as well. Then I could clear this or go back to January and see if there's any change. So if any of you have submitted any records, I'd be able to see that added to this tally here as well. So as I mentioned, you have up to 100 or whatever the amount you purchase for a month, and you're able to see how many you've used here, but you can also set it up under company info. You can set up to be notified if you're getting close to that maximum number. So you'd go under company info, and you'd scroll all the way down into your services and edit service access. And you're able to put in your email address in here. And that way, whenever I get close to that amount each month, I'm able to be notified. Now, if I come back to our presentation here, I have these steps where I showed you where it is here for the notifications. You will be notified at 75%, 90%, and 100% of the capacity that you've configured for that profile. Once 100% is reached, the public link won't work anymore, and the user will receive a message. This is what the notification would look like, and I think this is a great perk to using public links. Instead of having to always rely on going into analytics, you'll get this email notification and you'll be able to make any adjustments as needed. John, would you mind launching a poll? And if there's any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Absolutely. I'm going to go ahead and launch this poll for the audience. And actually, a couple questions did come in, so we can answer them while everybody's filling out this poll. Barrett, the first question, some people actually had not seen web forms before, so this was a new experience to them. And they were just kind of asking if the web forms experience is similar to collecting data on a mobile device.
It is very, very similar. So what's really nice is almost everything that you can do on the iForm app, you can use in web forms. There are some differences. For instance, you can't use the Manatee Works element because you can't do any barcode scanning from your laptop or your computer. But besides that, it's a very, very similar experience to what you have within the app. There are also some perks to using web forms that you may have noticed at the very bottom of each form that I completed. It said save, or there's the button that says save and new. So I can actually launch a new record or creation of a new record from that screen. So that's really nice. What I actually like web forms for, not only for collecting data on laptops and computers, but also for testing my forms. I find it really helpful too.
That's a really good tip. Thank you, Barrett. Another question that came in is people were asking if a form can be used by normal users, is what they said. So I'm assuming they mean mobile users, and public links at the same time.
Yes, it can. That's a great question. So you can set a form up to have a public link, and you can set it out to anyone. You can also have people using that same form within the iForm app and logging in and using those iForm app credentials. And then you can have a third option where they're actually going and using the web forms where they have to put in that username and password. So you can actually capture data 3 different ways for the same form.
Perfect. And then the last question here was somebody was asking if this is an add-on to the current subscription or if they need a brand new account for this. I think that's something that you're going to be covering in the next couple slides though, right?
I am, but I can briefly say your account has it as of right now. You just have to enable it. And I'm more than happy to send over a help desk article on how to do that.
Perfect, thank you.
So as John said just a minute ago, I was going to tell you about how to get started with this. So the first is you do have 100 free public link submissions per month. As I said before, you can purchase additional ones. You can do this either by contacting your customer success manager or going into our help desk and talking to one of our agents there, and they can help get you started with this as well. If you are okay with the 100 free and you don't need to purchase any more, then you just have to go in and enable profiles for use. Again, I'll send you an article on how to do that. Then the next step is after that profile has been enabled to use public links, you can create the link within the form builder. As I mentioned during the demo, you have to have server admin access or a company admin access with form builder permissions. From there, you could share that link with whoever you want to. You can have a password. You don't have to have a password, but you can start using it in real time and view your data in iFormBuilder. Again, what a nice perk is that if you have some people using the app and some people using the public link, all the data goes to the one location in your iFormBuilder account. Here is our pricing model. Here's the breakdown for cost. If you need more, again, just contact our customer success team and we're more than happy to help. And then before we get to the closing and announcements, I do want to talk through our roadmap for our public links. So the first thing, or one of the points that we're going to look into adding and making accessible is using public links with shared forms. So for those of you who have a dedicated database and you're making use of shared forms from one profile to another, you can use public links, but you have to generate that public link from the form that the profile that form originated in, and you only have one link. So if you're going to use public links, all the data will go into one profile for that shared form. So one thing that we'll work on, and we're going through the research phase and figuring out, is how do you get it so that each shared form has a unique link per profile, so that you could still use shared forms, but the unique link allows that data to stay in that profile that form is shared with. Another piece that we're researching is how to do record assignment. So we've heard a lot from our customers that public links are great, but you want to be able to pre-populate some of that information and do record assignment, so that when you send out that link, it'll already include information so the user doesn't have to fill that in. So we're researching how to do that. And then lastly, the iOS and Android capabilities. We want to make it a more fluid experience for our users, and that's one thing that we're going to work towards.
Perfect. So let's do the announcements real quickly first. There's two primary announcements here. The first one is that we're going to be holding our second certification of the year in June. So if you are interested in either sharpening up your form builder skills, or if you're a longtime form builder and you want to see what the newest form building techniques that we have are, the certification is a perfect way to educate yourself on that. If you're a little bit newer to the software, you want to learn a little bit more, it's also a perfect opportunity to not only learn what to do, but to get practice doing it as well. And so it's an interactive certification, and it's a really good experience for anybody who's looking to improve in their form building skills. The second announcement is that we've recently released a new feature enhancement. So for those of you who have integrated with iForm in the past, you know that we have what are called post data endpoints. Historically, those have only been restricted to data coming through. So if a record was submitted or if it was deleted or updated. And we've recently released a new mode, which is called the assign mode. And so what this is going to allow you to do is it will allow you to integrate after a record has been assigned. And so again, this was a request that came from many community members looking for ways to be able to track record assignments and to be able to build their own warehouse and record keeping of when records were assigned out, and to potentially do other integrations such as like send text messages to those users and so on. So if you're interested in using that, absolutely check that out. You can either look on the Customer Success Center for some more information, or reach out to your Customer Success Manager and set up a call, and we'll talk through it and help you out with that. Going back to a couple of questions that came up while we were doing the back half of the webinar, Barrett, you actually answered two of them. Two of them were about being able to use public links on mobile devices, and then also if it can be used with the assigned to element. So I think we covered those. I do want to clarify a little bit with Simon's question about the assigned to element. So you would be able to use the assigned to element in the sense that you are filling out the form, but currently you're not going to be able to like assign a record to a public link. If you think about it from the perspective of the public link not having an identity tied to it, it would be hard to assign it to a specific user in that scenario. We are working on being able to pre-populate values based on the link, and so that's a step forward. But with record assignment through public links, and really everything that we've been doing through public links, I highly encourage everybody to communicate your needs and your requests to us. Public links was very much a product of the Xarian team working very closely with customers who were requesting this. And through that collaboration, we were able to put together what you see here today. And we really feel like it addresses a lot of the business needs that customers had, and it's going to open up a lot of different new opportunities for customers as well. And the final question I have for you, Barrett, is we had somebody ask how record submissions count when they have subforms in the record.
A great question. They count just the same way that records are counted if you submit it through the iForm app, where if there's subforms attached to that parent form, the parent form is the only one that counts. So you could have 20 subforms attached to one parent form, but the second that parent form syncs to the cloud, that counts as one submission.
Perfect. Thanks for clearing that up.
Sure.
All right. Those were all the questions that we had. I again want to thank everybody for taking time out of your day to join us for this webinar. As I said at the beginning, we will be releasing this recording for anybody who wants to access it. And you're more than happy to reach out to us if you have any other further questions. We'd be happy to answer them. And again, hopefully we'll see you at the next webinar. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, and thank you, John, and everyone enjoy the rest of your day.
Bye, everyone.